Good evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is the June 24th, 2015 meeting of the Lowell Conservation Commission. I would like to welcome our newest member, Mr. Kevin Dillon, our newest commissioner, who is duly sworn in and will be participating in all but one public hearing tonight, which was a continuance. Moving on to tonight's first item on the agenda is a notice of intent, and that's Wind Pondview Limited Partnership concerning DEP file number 2060743. Project location is 109 Wood Street, and it involves site improvements for existing stormwater system, utility work, landscaping, milling, and resurfacing.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. My name is Richard Balmer, B-A-U-M-M-E-R, the engineer on the project from Nobis Engineering, and we're at 585 Middlesex Street here in Lowell. And just to recap, we did appear before the Commission in May in response to the enforcement order that was issued on April 24th, in which the applicant for this NOI was proceeding with paving of the perimeter access road to the apartment complex without coming in for proper permits with the Commission and with the city. And so we initially reviewed the issue of what was going on. Just for a recap, this is Wood Street and Westford Road. The new Lowell 5 Bank is here on this corner, and the apartment complex sits in this area here. And the perimeter road that I initially pointed out, north is to your plan left, runs along the north perimeter and the western perimeter of the property. There's an extensive wetland system to the west. Black Brook abuts the property on the north, and there's a wetland system associated with Black Brook. There's a 200-foot riverfront protection area zone associated with Black Brook as well. And then there's a protected land, bordering land subject to flooding that is represented by this line as well. So the resurfacing work was a milling removal of 1.5 inches of paving and a replacement of that work. And about 95% of that work was completed before the enforcement order was placed. And there's about maybe 150 feet of paving left to do. What we've done in response to the enforcement order was two things. One is we filed a stormwater reduction plan with engineering, and the purpose of that was to compensate for the paving in accordance with the city's MS4 compliance program. That involved the design of 5 best management practices infiltration devices adjacent to the loop road, which right now just sheet flows off to the protected areas without any treatment. So we have a very limited amount of area on the west to work with, but we created 2 25-foot long infiltration trenches. And then where there's a little bit more room to work with, on the north there are 3 existing ditches where there are slight low points in the road where the runoff concentrates, and then it runs off to the stream, again without any protection. So in those cases, we're proposing the installation of a stilling basin. It's roughly 2 feet deep, capture that first runoff, trap it, and let it filter and get some level of recharge to groundwater. That plan has now been reviewed by engineering and has been approved. I've received an email from engineer Joe Cady on that this afternoon. So from engineering standpoint, they're ready to receive the driveway permit application that needs to be filed by the contractor. The other items that we then responded to were the appropriate erosion controls that should have been in place with the paving work, which would be perimeter controls of either silt fence or sediment logs around the perimeter between the potential disturbance area and the resource areas. So in this NOI, we are filing it retroactively as what should have been filed by the property manager before the work took place. And we decided in consultation with DPD and with the property owner to take the NOI application a step farther and to put on record an operations and maintenance plan and a long-term pollution prevention plan for the property manager to have in place moving forward that says whenever they're doing any work of potential land disturbance within this zone of protected area, that they have a protocol to follow. So for minor things like catch basin work or landscaping work in those areas, there's a protocol in place to put erosion controls in and to protect that work. Same thing if they have to do some resurfacing work, put the appropriate erosion controls in place. All those things need a notification to DPD to enable the staff to make a site visit. And there's also information in the maintenance plan that says if you're doing things beyond what's included in the plan, then we need to come back in front of the commission with a full notice of intent. So certainly if that involves any disturbance to the wetlands or the streams and the protected areas themselves. So that's a summary of where we are at this point. And we also received a few comments from DPD in response to the notice of intent filing. But before I respond to those, just like to ask the commission if you have any questions at this point relative to the documents that were filed with the NOI filing itself.
No, I was just looking at your plan that you submitted, and the one that I had emailed was a little bit different, but we're all set up here now. I would like to just make a comment that I appreciate the work and the efforts that you've done to rectify this situation and to bring it under compliance. The question was asked at the last meeting under the EO and under just the informal discussion on the pre-filing on this about the type of paving that was done, and I believe Commissioner Beardron had, who's not here tonight, but had asked whether or not this was cold planing, I guess is what they do, and they just replace it with what they scrape, or?
That is correct. So the contract documents that we obtained, I think we provided the last time, if not, I'll certainly review that with Swathy and put those on the record, showed that the contract called for the milling or cold planing of 1.5 inches of material and then a replacement of 1.5 inches of material. So the surface had deteriorated with the winter conditions over the last 2 years. There were lots of potholes and loose material that presented both a hazard for the residents, but also a potential pollution concern of additional runoff from that loose material into the resources. So in the long term, the idea here is let's do this maintenance properly so that we are protecting the resources from those damaged pavement. So they were removing the damaged surface layer and replacing it.
Right, yeah, I don't want to downplay the activity that took place within the buffer zone, but really what was critical here was the bringing in of material and the placement of fill in the floodplain. Not, you know, and again, I don't want to lessen the impacts to the resource by the activity that was taking place, but you know, as we all know, these neighborhoods, and especially this reach of the Black Brook, is critical for flood storage capacity. And you know, it's what happens when your property is significantly in a floodplain, that you know you have to be very sensitive to especially a tract of land this size, and you know, and repaving a road, a driveway, a parking area of this size can fill in cubic yards of flood storage capacity in the blink of an eye. So it's super important, super critical that those pre and post grades are maintained.
Understood.
I, for one, am satisfied, at least given the information that's been presented, that the grades did not change in any perceptible way. So, you know, and again, it's not even the bringing in or even if, for instance, fill was not brought in, just changing the grades matters. Okay, it's just the distribution of where the low and the high levels are. You can't, for instance, you can't dig a hole for flood, you know, for flood storage capacity. You know, under the regulations, you just can't do that, you know, and fill in other areas. It's, you know, you have to maintain the grades. You can lower it, you just can't make it higher anywhere that it was originally. So.
Well, and the stormwater prevention plan, if I may respond, Mr. Chairman, does respond to that. While there is limited additional volume that happens in these stone infiltration trenches, for the stilling basins on the north end, that is a net excavation of material immediately adjacent to the paving. We selected areas that will not require the removal of anything other than the shrub material that's in there. So while admittedly small, it is a net increase in volume within the flood area that does take place. The benefit of these BMPs for small storms is from a water quality standpoint. So we get our summer thunderstorm, that immediate runoff is going to get picked up and retained over several hours or so in those stilling basins and provide some filtration of that runoff before it would reach Black Brook.
Okay, and your O&M plan is I don't have any comments on it other than what's in it. And in that regard, I have no further comments. Commissioner Varnum.
I visited the site again, and I must say they did a fantastic job of cleaning up the brush and what little trash there was along the wetland areas, and it looks really neat and taken care of at this point. I think I was driving the wrong way. You seem to have a one-way traffic plan out there, but and I also like the areas you've chosen for snow storage, pushing it away from the wetland rather than towards, I think was, and I'm surprised you were able to do that on such a tight site, so that looked good to me. And I guess that's the only comments. Nice geese out there, too.
Commissioner Toner?
I'm satisfied, no comments.
Okay. Commissioner Dillon?
No comments.
Thank you. So if I may respond to the couple of comments that we received from DPD, the first few of those were your standard development services comments, and we certainly take no issue with those pro forma protocols. We are anxious to get started. This is a HUD affiliated property for affordable housing. And there is a, not sure what's the word, an annual inspection that is scheduled for the end of July, that the property owner would like to get this work finished in the next several weeks so that that can all be completed here. But I think assuming we can get through and get an order here this evening, we should be in good shape there. The site-specific comments, we made a couple of modifications to the maintenance plan and the snow storage plan to respond. If I may approach. So the first comment was to show the locations of the snow storage signs. And
Can I just interrupt you for a second?
Yes.
Is this the same, is this the same O and M that we received in the email?
yes, with the exception, if you'll see there's a June 19th date. The
Yeah.
original was June 1st, and you'll note
Well, I
a
have
couple of items.
I have a revised O and M from June 19th.
Okay, yes, that's
So this
it.
is the same one?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
So the first comment was to show the snow storage signs. And from the original NOI, we actually added two additional signs to accommodate the specific items. So if you go a couple pages into the packet that I handed out, we have a snow storage sign A that doesn't have an arrow, and then there's a B and a C that both have an arrow, so that essentially for the three of the areas that we've designated, we can then identify a sign that shows the limit of the snow storage area on each side. So on the 11 by 17 version of the plan that we provided to the commission, you'll see a legend here on the right-hand side that coincides with the details that are now attached to the O&M plan. The sign A is associated with this storage area that is fenced in next to the dumpster, and the sign B and C's identify the limits of these longer areas that are elsewhere on the plan. The second part of that comment referred to removal of additional snow that exceeds the capacity of these two areas off-site. And we would like to propose an interim step that could be available to the property manager in situations like we had last year with severe snowfall amounts of enabling the property manager to reach out to city staff and say, hey, we think we've got another area that we can make work here for snow storage in this extreme situation that still respects the resources and provides the ability to work with staff in those situations. And then if that's exhausted, then at that point resorting to the need for off-site storage. So you'll see on the top of page 5 in the revised O&M document language that reflects that request.
Yeah, I mean, in extreme situations where you have, and again, it's a judgment call, but last winter was an example of it. Public safety comes first, obviously. You need to be able to get emergency vehicles in and out. You need to, passage, that's the primary, that's the primary concern, okay? And the secondary concern then becomes long-term, storage and what happens. And if we can manage this in a way, and you have, as part of the O&M is the use of de-icing and regulating that and limiting that. And so, it's, snow storage in and of itself is not a bad thing. It's recharge eventually. It's just managing how much and how fast, so, okay.
And what's in it.
Yeah.
The last item, there was a request for the second comment to provide the O&M plan to the engineering office for their review, and we will take care of doing that after we've satisfied the commission here. There's one final item that I think serves the overall purpose of this maintenance plan and the concerns that the commission raised. We, on the next to last page of the packet, is a revised sign, and it's a mock-up that we've discussed with the property manager of the sign that we would place in the office, the manager's office, so that it's front and center of where the protected areas are. And then we also felt that it would be prudent to include a document that even at a reduced size of maybe 8.5 by 11 or 11 by 17 that's accompanying the notice, that it refers to that document and very clearly shows the outer limit of what are the resource areas that need to be, where activities within those areas need to have either work done in compliance with the O&M plan, or if it's outside of the scope of the O&M plan, to return to the commission and seek approval.
Thank you. Is there anything further from the city? Oh, okay, I saw the comments. Anything further from the commission? No, all right. What I would like to do is open this up. Is there anyone here who would like to offer their comments or concerns, either for or against this filing? Is there anyone here who would like to offer their comments or concerns, either for or against? Is there anyone who would like to offer their comments or concerns, either for or against? Hearing none, do I have a motion to close the public hearing? We have a DEP file number. Did we receive any comments back from the DEP on this?
Yes, we received 2 comments. Do you have the?
We just got the DEP number. I didn't see any comments that they had on it.
What they had was they were basically wanted you to confirm that the latest flood maps were used for identifying the flood elevation.
That was my understanding, because the earlier map that we had access to after the enforcement order, but before we filed the NOI, and hence the reason it took us a little longer to get the NOI in, is it showed a flood zone that was much smaller up in this zone, and we updated this with the more recent map.
Yeah, there's been some very recent revisions, so.
But yeah, I'll be happy to respond to that in writing back to the DEP.
Okay.
Okay. All right, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Move to close the public hearing.
Seconded, motion by Commissioner Varnum, seconded by Commissioner Toner. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. All right.
Is that one of the things that the city commented on? Oh, it is? Yeah, it's not dated.
Right here.
What's dated?
May 2015. Swati, do we have an original of the plan in the filing? We don't have a date on the plan. It's stamped, but we don't have a date on it. We have May 2015, but not a,
Not a specific date, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And you prepared it, so you can date it tonight if
I'd
it's
be
not.
happy to.
So, okay. Yeah, these are going to need to be dated.
Okay.
Okay. Do you know, when was your last revision on these plans, do you know? Because they're dated May 2015.
Right, so the original ones would have been, since we filed June 1st, May 30th. The only plan that we've revised was the snow storage plan relative to the submittal, and we could use today's date for that.
You can use today's date? Okay, so you want to use May 30th?
May
Is your-
30th on the other drawing, on
Okay.
the erosion control and the details,
And
and
as revised today?
and June 24th on the
Okay,
snow
all
storage
right.
plan.
You can do that after we
Okay.
do this, so, all right. So it'll be on these, okay. All right, all set? And reference this. All right, do I have a motion on this?
Move to issue a Lowell standard order with special conditions that the operations, maintenance, and pollution prevention plan shall become a part of the order and remain in effect. And we'd reference the snow storage plan and the erosion control plan that we were just speaking of with dates of May 30th and June.
June 24th,
24th.
yeah, as revised. Okay. And the O and M plan dated June 19th?
June 19th, 2015.
All right. That's the motion. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Motion by Commissioner Varnum, seconded by Commissioner Toner. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Commissioner Varnum?
Aye.
Chair is yes. Commissioner Dillon?
Aye.
Commissioner Toner?
Aye.
Okay, good. You're all set. You need to just date these before you go, if we can have you do that. Standard order.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Do I have, now in relation to that, do I have a motion to lift the enforcement order that's on this, since we have a valid order of conditions?
I move to lift the enforcement order.
Okay,
Second.
all right. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, all right. So that's, the enforcement order is no longer on the property. It's pursuant now to the notice of intent. Okay, all right. Moving on to tonight's second item is a notice of intent, Verizon Wireless, concerning DEP file number 2060739. Project location is 175 Old Canal Drive, and it's the installation of a new telecommunications tower. And yes, sir, if you could identify yourself for the record?
I'm Alec McLeod of Northeast Land and Water. presenting this project on behalf of Verizon Wireless. I have here the green cards and the tear sheet. As noted, this is a project consisting of a cellular communications facilities installation. It is at, the location is 175 Old Canal Drive, which is right here, comes in, there's a circle. A couple of industrial, semi-industrial buildings here. The area that the project's proposed to be installed in is actually an area that's used for now truck turnaround, loading, some occasionally container storage, that kind of thing. It's composed of asphalt, some concrete, and compacted earth. That's right here. On this building here, there are loading ramps here and here. There is a wetland on this side of it right here, and that is the historic impoundment of, I just need to dig up the name, Black Brook, right there. This is actually the, right here where you can see how the wetland lines separate right here. This is actually the old impoundment right here, and although this is Black Brook, and Black Brook in other areas is a perennial stream, here it is impounded, and there are no indications of riverine conditions, and so on. So there's not a riverfront area associated with this. It is therefore a buffer zone project, and it consists of first installation of a sediment and erosion control barrier right here. Then grading the site to prepare for installation of a concrete foundation for a 100-foot tall monopole tower, and then installation of a gravel pad upon which the supporting equipment will be installed, and that's it. That's pretty much the extent of it. This is the proposed access easement already exists. Does not have to be created. So this is the area that will be used to bring in the equipment. The work will be conducted from this side of the project area, and as soon as the site project is installed, site is completed, and a chain link fence installed actually around the equipment, the site will be decommissioned, including removal of the sediment and erosion control barrier.
Now, when you say a monopole, that means no guy wires, that type of
That's
thing?
correct.
Okay, no stabilizing wires.
That's right.
Now, what's the associated building or equipment, what is that specifically?
Well, there's a backup generator in there that's a propane-powered generator, and then there's other electronic equipment that services the antennae. And I'm not that kind of a technician, so I
Okay,
can't
so
describe it exactly.
I'm assuming then that some sort of access needs to be maintained for the
Yes.
propane tanks and general maintenance of the...
That's right, and that's going to be through the existing driveway. The trucks
Okay.
use this now to access this side of the building.
Okay, all right. And that's a limited access, it's gated and...
The equipment compound itself, right here, will be gated. You can see, you have the maps yourselves, but you can see here there are a couple of gates on this side, and that's how people will get in there and access the equipment as necessary. It tends to be infrequent.
All right. Did you... Oh, strike that. Okay. I don't have any further comments. Commissioner Varnum?
I spoke to some people at the site who said that there was no plan to take down any trees along the water there.
That's correct.
Correct?
Yes.
The site is just level gravel right now, so I didn't see that it would impact the wetland if the trees were not removed.
Right. Yeah, there's no need to. It's a nice buffer of trees, right along here, but there's no need to impact any of them.
Well, I guess I did have two, what type of noise emanates from the generator? The generator isn't running full-time, it's,
Generator only runs in context of a power outage.
okay, so there's no, it's a quiet site.
It's a silent site.
All right, and how about lighting, external lighting?
I don't believe this one is tall enough to require a light on top. Pardon?
No, I don't mean on top of the tower, because there's nothing we can do about that, that's an FAA regulation.
Yeah.
But I meant security lighting and,
Okay, you'd like to answer that?
because this is a fairly, I mean, there's a lot of movement out there after sunset, so.
Good evening, Commission members. My name is Chris Winiarski. I'm an attorney for Verizon Wireless. Alex, obviously much more familiar with the content of our discussion tonight, but with some of the specifics of the site and the telecommunications installation, I might know a couple of additional things. As far as lighting, there's no major lighting. There are typically one or two simple light fixtures, single bulb, just like you would have outside the door of your house. And that's simply something, flip the switch, turn it on, so that if someone has to go in there at night for a maintenance issue, they don't trip over something and hurt themselves. There's no lighting that actually emanates outside of the compound. At times, some boards have asked us to put shielding on the lights so that it is focused to go down and not out. Happy to do that if you'd like us to. It's something that's very minimal and we probably would do on our own anyway.
Okay. All right. No, it's a fairly large site, surrounding area, so, so I'm, not overly concerned with a 100-watt bulb or, whatever.
Right.
For doorway access and stuff like that. I don't want this lit up like, a security compound because, as I said,
we don't
this
either.
is.
We don't want to draw attention to it.
Yeah,
so we
well,
don't
it's,
light it up.
well, as I said, it's a fairly, Lowell's a largely urban area, but some of the areas are, the local fauna utilize it for, nocturnal activities, whatever they happen to be. So, and this is one of those areas, so.
Certainly.
All right. So, all right, Commissioner Toner,
No comments.
Commissioner Dillon?
No comments?
Okay. Now, you're here, before I open this up for discussion, you're here on a notice of intent. What's your time frame for the construction here?
Typically, once we go through the permitting process, which would be your order of conditions, then we'd be seeking a building permit, which I expect would be turned around within 30 days. We're going to start right after that. We shoot for about 90 days, start to finish. So the goal here would be to be done October.
Okay. Okay, all right. Is there anyone here who would like to offer their comments or concerns either for or against this proposed project? Is there anyone here who would like to offer their comments or concerns either for or against? Is there anyone who would like to offer their comments or concerns either for or against? Hearing none, do I have a motion to close the public hearing? We have a DEP file number? Yes, we do. Okay. Do we have any comments from the DEP on this? No? Okay. Do I have a motion to close the hearing?
Move to close the public hearing.
By Commissioner Varnum, seconded by
Seconded?
Commissioner Toner. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, the ayes have it. All right, do I have a motion for a standard order on this?
Move to issue a standard order of conditions.
Any motion by Commissioner Varnum, seconded by
Seconded?
Commissioner Toner. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Commissioner Varnum? Chair is yes. Commissioner Toner? Yes? Okay, and Commissioner Dillon?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. You're all set.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It all breaks down.
Yeah, this, oh, yeah. The third item on tonight's agenda is request for determination of applicability. The City of Lowell. Project location is 355 Jackson Street, and it's construction of a small extension on Jackson Street.
Chair and members of the Conservation Commission, my name is Craig Thomas. I'm the Chief Design Planner for the City of Lowell Department.
What's your name again?
Craig, C-R-A-I-G. And I'm here to present this project on behalf of the city. 50 Arcan Drive.
Ooh, I like that one.
That's multi-use. We printed that for the governor, but I thought we'd get some additional fun out of it. So as the commission may or may not be aware, the city was awarded $15 million from the State Department of Transportation for the Lord Overpass project. We call it the Lord Overpass project, which is here, but really it involves several sections. It involves improvements all the way to the Gallagher Terminal, as well as intersection work all the way to Lowell Connector, improvements structurally, as well as significant bike and pedestrian improvements to the Lowell Connector, the ramps, and Thorndike Dutton underneath, and a new four-way signalized intersection here that will connect Fletcher Street in a slightly new alignment to Jackson Street. This is not the project that I'm presenting tonight. This is the final vision, but we need to do a lot of design for this. What I'm here to present is actually a small but fully independent section of this, which is the extension of Jackson Street here to a cul-de-sac. The city is moving forward with this part independently, both because, again, it's an independent piece of this larger project, but because it's really important that we establish this extension of Jackson Street to provide the construction entrance to the trial court, which was recently funded by Governor Baker. So again, this is the larger project, which you will be hearing much more about later, but tonight we're seeking determination of applicability for just this segment here. And that will come to a cul-de-sac in this section. The city owns a parcel, it's not technically a right-of-way yet, but a parcel where this will be built. It's currently flat and paved. We're gonna be replacing grade essentially in kind on the paved site with a roadway, and we're gonna actually be moving the pavement farther away from the canal. The closest line of work is about 15 feet from the canal, but between the top of the canal, which is the top of Bank, the nearest resource area, and our work area, we have actually a fully complete and constructed canal walkway. So the standard national park city chip seal with trees along this edge. So we're actually behind a fully built walkway and vegetated buffer that we're going to use with our erosion control line. That was in the plans that I gave to you. Our erosion control line is going to be set along the tree line here. So again, we're reconstructing this flat, currently paved area, essentially in kind with a new roadway. And we're utilizing the buffer we have here of a canal walkway, as well as a strong erosion control line in the trees. We have tree protection in here, as well as additional tree planting. So the sum total of this will move the paved area farther from the canal, and will add trees in the area, as well as protecting what's there. And so I'm happy to answer any questions, but we're seeking a negative determination subject to installation of erosion control measures, as well as anything else the commission so desires to request. As a part of our contract, we have the erosion control measures required of our contractor that I submitted for review to the commission in this area, again, along the tree line, along the walkway of the canal. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
No, Mr. Thomas. No. Are you, when I saw the plan for this, I guess I was a little perplexed because, I'm looking at a turnabout and then Thorndike Street, and I'm wondering, you know, what's that all about? So you're terminating it within the right-of-way of Thorndike Street, but you're not actually connecting to Thorndike Street yet?
Yep, there will be no connection. There'll be a roundabout in this section here. This is, again, the nicest graphic we have of the project, but I didn't, what I gave to you are the construction documents, which don't blow up well and don't show well, but end here. And so this roadway will come inward. The cul-de-sac will face inward, again, farther away from the resource areas.
So you're not, there's no canal crossing as of yet?
Nope, and again, the reason we felt that we could come forward with an RDA instead of a notice of intent, again, was that for the entire length here, we have a fully constructed canal walk with vegetated buffer, including trees. So we have a really hard barrier between what we're doing and the resource areas.
So how is it, I mean, and this really isn't our issue, but I'm just a little curious how, because Thorndike Street is, as you know, is a very busy street,
Yes.
and that's an incredibly busy intersection. How is that going to be reconciled with that national park, the walkway that runs along there that has to cross that because it crosses it crosses that right-of-way? How are you going to handle that with vehicular traffic, just whizzing in through there, coming off of Thorndike Street? It just seems like a recipe for disaster. I mean,
Well, there needs to be a lot of work in this. We're just beginning the design process for the larger project. And that's why I said this is a small, fully independent construction project that will complete a necessary part of this larger vision, but is necessary for a totally separate reason, which is to provide really the driveway for the trial court to move forward. This intersection in particular is critical, both because of the volume of traffic, but also the volume of pedestrians. Anyone who drives down Thorndike here and comes down the on and off ramps knows that there are already significant numbers of pedestrians that cross here.
well, the high school gets out and there's probably, there could be 1,000 students trying to cross through that intersection on a daily basis.
Yeah, and so because of that, we've already programmed a significant set of sidewalks and pedestrian infrastructure here, but we're actually going to take an additional step. With the backing of the new Secretary of DOT, the city is moving aggressively to take on a little bit more design work to look at additional options to improve pedestrian and non-vehicular, principally pedestrian and bicycle crossing and facilities to improve this environment. This is a really significant area because Thorndike Dutton is a real barrier in the city. We're trying to find ways to cross it safely for all mobility users, as well as trying to improve connections across the Lord Overpass to the Gallagher Terminal. That's really the goal of this project, and because of that, we're going to be rolling out in the next couple months some public visioning sessions to try and see what we can do to improve even upon this design to enhance the safety, the comfort, and the access.
So what's the purpose of doing this small extension at this point in time?
Again, this extension is really about providing the construction access necessary for the trial court to begin construction. We both need to have the elevations of the roadway in, so they can use that as a fixed point for their design, which is now kicking into high gear, as well as actually have it such that the truck traffic is going to be coming in here. We don't want it coming in off of Middlesex Street, which is a little busier, could be a little more dangerous. We're going to have everyone coming down Canal and around here.
Okay, so and it's obviously going to handle the heavy loads that are
Yep.
coming in, but that's not going to be the finish.
Yeah, actually, if you look very carefully, I know from our construction agreement, and I think maybe detailed in the sheet that I gave you, we're actually only building this road to binder, what they call it. That's the sort of rougher underlayment for a roadway. We're going to put that out here and let the court use that, because if that gets torn up, it's not that big a deal. And then the court has actually agreed to do the finished paving once the court building is complete.
Is there any way, because that walkway that's there now, and I think I've spent an afternoon or two with you in years past doing, beautification type work out there, and permitting that, a number of years ago, and specifically in response to the Lowell Folk Festival coming in and trying to get cleanup work done out there in an expedited manner, when Trinity Development had that site. Now, as part of this, and as part of the ultimate courthouse construction, are you gonna like put a green barrier fence or something just as a site, just to, I mean, we have visitors that come to the city that actually walk along that area, and if you've got an active construction zone going on, it's, it's ugly now, it's gonna be even worse. When the, trucks going in and out is just something as a barrier to keep, children, kids, visitors, whatnot, and dust and debris from the construction site from getting onto the national parks right of way there.
Yeah, that's going to be a critical part of what the trial court does. Because of the size of this development, they're going to need a NIPDES permit, which includes a SWIP, which is Stormwater Pollution Prevention Program Plan. Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan, as a part of that dust control and mitigation, will be really critical to what they do. And again, having this roadway in place will be really critical, both as a place we can set up barriers, set up screening, but also they can have measures out here. We're going to have fully separated storm drain systems such that they can wash trucks or wash off and control dust as necessary. And again, because we're going to move the pavement farther away from that walkway, there's already going to be a new built-in grass buffer that's going to more than double in this section the distance between the pavement and the walkway there.
Yeah, because there's a fence out there now, isn't there?
Yeah, there's an old silt
Yeah,
fence
it's a
from
low-
the previous work, yeah.
yeah.
That's going to obviously come out as a part of this. And one of the benefits to this as well is building out this street is going to now make this walkway, which is a really beautiful one, not just because of our work on Point Park here, but because of the trolley bridge that was turned into pedestrian bridge, which is one of the nicest walking sections we have in the city. This is going to feel less like you're out somewhere maybe you're not supposed to be. Right now, there is a section here when you're in the middle, it's not really clear what's going on around you because of the vacant development site next to you. And so this is going to really start to make clear for folks who are out here what's happening, the street network that's coming in, the development that's coming in. So I think it'll help with pedestrian safety and comfort out there as well.
All right, I have no further comments. Commissioner Varnum?
No comments.
Okay, Commissioner Toner?
What are the expected, elevation changes to the floodplain with putting the new materials in and everything? Will you be taking materials out beforehand, or?
Yeah, again, this is outside of the floodplain, but in general, we have a roughly in-kind replacement of the elevations that are out there right now.
Okay. All right. Is that outside of the new floodplain, or is that strictly, is that the old one?
That is the new one, I believe. We double-checked that.
Okay. All right, no comment, no further comment.
Yeah, the floodplain generally and the canal zones, for the most part in the downtown and immediate surrounding areas are generally, the floodway is generally contained within the canal zone itself. There's probably a handful of spots where it extends out a little bit, but for the most part, the canalways themselves are the floodways, so, and are the flood zones. So it's all right. Commissioner Dillon.
Now, the trees that are being planted, they're going to be given sufficient area to grow?
Yep, yeah, so the green space we have here starts here and is at its widest approximately here, and then shrinks down again here, and that the trees we're planting are going to be approximately 2.5 to 3.5 inch calipers, and the drip line is going to be, the grass is going to extend beyond the drip line of the trees as we plant them.
Okay. All right, no further questions?
All right, this is here on an RDA, but I'm going to open it up for comments. Is there anyone here who'd like to offer their comments regarding this proposal? So, all right, so hearing none. I think clearly this is, within the rubric of the City of Lowell Wetlands bylaw. It's outside of the floodplain, but the work done, at least to me, seems to be not likely to alter the resource area as of yet. So I think that we can easily -3 this. So I would ask for comments from the city, but I believe the city is here, so.
I would move to issue a -3 determination on this proposal.
All right, any motion by Commissioner Varnum, seconded by
Second.
Commissioner Dillon. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank
Okay,
you very much, Commissioners.
thanks, Greg.
Thanks, guys.
And just keep us posted as to the timeframe, and I'm sure you guys are in daily communication anyway with the office, so.
Yeah, I'll give Swati the letter once we issue the notice for mobilization for the contractor.
Do we have some sort of timeframe as to when they plan to start the judicial center?
In rough terms,
I mean, when are we expected to see filings on that, or?
I can't speak to that, but I expect to see them in the ground in 2017, so,
Okay, all right, thank you.
thanks all.
Moving on to tonight's fourth item is a request for certificate of compliance, Residents First Development Corporation, concerning DEP file number 2060631. Project location is 13280 Way. Yes, sir.
Chairman, members of the commission, my name is Dennis Corners. I'm here tonight representing the Residents First Development Corporation. You know, River's Edge is a new subdivision, approximately 180 units. We constructed a retaining wall on one of the lots out there. And we've been in discussions, formal and informal, with the city and our own engineers about any possible impact that the retaining wall had on the adjacent wetlands. My memo that accompanied my submission explains the process we went through. We've taken the steps that were recommended by our professional engineers out there. A commission member, Farnham, and the professional from the DPD visited the site the other day. We have the appropriate erosion control. We've planted $1,000 worth of ground cover to prevent any further erosion onto the wetlands. A couple recommendations came up during the site visit, which were good and we're going to implement. One was to increase the signage to notify the occupants of the buildings about the wetlands. We're going to increase the signage, and also to hand out a notice to any potential buyers telling them that they're prohibited from entering or doing anything to the wetlands. And if they had any questions, the appropriate contact information with the Conservation Commission will be given to them. I can answer any questions that the commission has.
I don't have any questions, Commissioner Varnum.
I was just looking at the pictures you submitted the last time you were here, and you really have improved a lot with the planting of those junipers or whatever they are. It's really going to hold that slope, I think, once they take hold. And it's nice and neat. I didn't see any evidence of washouts or anything like that, so I think that'll protect the wetland very well. And the signs and the notices, I think, are a good idea, too.
Well, they were your ideas, so.
Well,
Commissioner Toner?
It looks great to me. It didn't, like she said, see any signs of washout or anything like that. Everything seems to be taken pretty well.
Good.
No further comments.
Commissioner Dillon?
No comments.
All right. Do I have a motion to issue a partial certificate of compliance for Lot 99?
I move to issue a partial certificate for Lot 99, address 13280 Way.
All right, seconded by
Seconded.
Commissioner Toner, motion by Commissioner Varnum. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. All right,
Good. Thank you very much for your help with this.
thank you. Moving on to tonight's fifth item is an enforcement order continued from prior hearings. The Khmer Buddhist monks Inc. Violation location is 58 and 66 Townsend Avenue, and its destruction of plant life within bordering land subject to flooding. Tree clearing remnants were observed during a site inspection conducted on May 8th, 2015. Swati, can you bring us up to date as to what's been going on out there?
So at our last meeting, the property owners had submitted a restoration plan to plant 4 trees, and they were given the, choice of having something habitat restoration-wise, flowering fruit trees, as long as they were not on the invasive species list. At the same time, we also discussed about the need to file a request for determination of applicability to make sure the dumpster which they had on the site is properly placed on a paved area, but because the entire site is within the floodplain, that only a temporary fence be provided around it. We received communication from the property owner last week informing us that they have revised their plans. They informed us that the trees have been planted, but with regard to the dumpster, they are planning to remove the dumpster from the site, at which point they were given 1 week's time to do that. And they were moving to the city-assigned trash barrel collection system. One of the properties, which is the adjacent property they own, 48 Townsend Ave, because of its religious use, is not assigned a trash barrel system from the city, so they were asked to get a private trash collection system in place for that. We were informed that they may be back in future with a proper, petition for a dumpster placement in accordance to their macro level plan for both the sites. So we had recommended that they, come before the commission today to close out the enforcement order for the plants, the trees that were removed on the site.
So we're not, and because the dumpster is going to be removed, we're not anticipating an RDA filing at this point in time?
Yes,
Okay.
and I wanted the applicant to confirm that it has been removed from the site.
Okay, yes, if you could identify yourself for the record?
My name is Maya. I'm coming here for behalf of the community Khmer Buddhist monks.
And what's your association with how are you affiliated with the Khmer monks?
I volunteers with the temples. I'm not the board of directors.
You can speak for them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I would like to hand out the tree that we plant, so you can see the pictures. Yeah.
Thank you.
Back to last month's meeting, so we already planned 4 trees. You can see the maps, over the first picture. It's right on the border of the bowling alley. And the plan is what they call Cleveland Pier, Select Pier.
Yep.
Yes, so we already planned on June 7th, 2015, as you see the pictures. And according to Ms. Swati, she mentioned about the dumpster. We're gonna remove it tomorrow. And I also talked to the company about the container. We request for container because 48 Townsend is not eligible for the City of Lowell container. So we already, talked to the company that have a dumpster, and they gonna put the container for us tomorrow too, when they take out the dumpster.
Yeah, I saw those emails.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's all.
Okay. Now, at the last time we were here, we saw, I'm sorry, there was some discussion about further tree removal.
For that, we gonna, because right now the head monks is busy with the West Coast, so when he coming back, he will submit some of the tree that it's not a good one, and some of them is already false. We gonna put the request through that. So because we need his, authority and all of that.
Okay, so nothing further is being proposed right now?
Not
Okay.
not right now.
Have the logs and the stumps, not the stumps, but have the trees that were felled, that were cut down, have that material, has that been removed from the site?
Not yet.
Okay,
Not yet.
that needs to get removed. As I stated in the last, meeting, and it was to the monk that was here, I don't remember his name, unfortunately.
Yes, Saratngan.
Yeah, once a tree is cut down, it becomes fill, okay? So it has to be removed.
You mean the tree that we request early in the end of May?
Yeah, the trees that were...
They cut it last week and they took it off.
Yeah, okay, they're gone. So
Yeah,
they
they're
didn't,
gone,
the
yeah.
logs are gone.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
that's what I was getting at.
Okay.
Yeah, once the tree is cut down, you gotta take it away.
Yep.
You can't leave it there.
Yeah,
So-
it's completely take it out
All
from
right,
last week.
okay.
yeah.
Unfortunately for you, we don't have a quorum to vote on the lifting of the enforcement order tonight. Okay, we have 4 members here, but one of them is ineligible to vote on this, okay? So we only have 3 members that are eligible to participate in this hearing. So this has to be, to lift this, we have to continue this unless there's something I'm not unaware of, but...
Would it be okay if the commission choose to continue to the next meeting, but since the matter has been
they
concluded?
don't need to come back, so, yeah, no, I don't know if there's anything further. I guess the only thing I would like to see is some indication that the trees are going to take, obviously, but that doesn't need to be done under an enforcement order. The dumpster is still there, so just because of that, the enforcement order shouldn't be lifted. I mean, we could do a conditional one, but I don't, generally when an enforcement order is issued and there's conditions, those conditions have to be met before the enforcement order is lifted. So, and notwithstanding all of that, we can't vote tonight anyway. I mean, we all, we have a new member, but this is a continuation. And since he didn't participate in the prior, the prior hearings on this, he's ineligible to participate tonight. So we only have 3 members that are eligible. So, and we now have a full 7-member commission, which means we need 4 members. Okay.
Okay.
So, I mean, right now we're quorumless. So this will just get continued until the next meeting. Right. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
So other than that, there's nothing there's no motion. I appreciate you coming in, and I appreciate the response that we're getting now. I mean, it's the nightmare that happened the last time was just uncalled for. But I truly am appreciative of the response and the open channel of communication that's going on this time. So,
Yeah, thank you.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next item on tonight's agenda is an enforcement order. Barbara and Ivan Sullivan, violation location is 70 and 84 Townsend Avenue, and its destruction of plant life within bordering land subject to flooding. Tree clearing remnants were observed during a site inspection conducted on June 4th, 2015. Swati, if you could fill us in as to what...
So We conducted a site visit upon being informed that a tree has been removed in the vicinity of the property. And upon reaching the site, what we noted is the tree that actually got removed in entirety. Well, the long trunk is there, but it's not coming back. It's not actually on this property, it's on the adjacent property, but it pretty much is not an occupied property. It's kind of like just, land. And we couldn't get in touch with the property owner. The property owner so we ended up issuing the enforcement order for the property owner who actually removed the tree. And she informed us, and it was a site verified situation. The tree was dangerously overhanging close to the structure, and that was the reason why they removed the major part of the tree. However, we informed them that because of the city's ordinance about tree removal without prior approval on a floodplain is, it's against the regulation, that we have to issue the enforcement order. And we discussed a possible restoration plan where she could plant a tree in the area, but something, which will not become a future problem for the structure that's on the property.
What kind of tree do we know?
We couldn't ascertain that because all the debris was already removed. The only thing was the long trunk. It was a, around 2 feet diameter mature tree trunk. And we couldn't it was over the fence, so we couldn't really go close.
So let me get this straight. The property owner removed the tree? Whose property, so 70 and 84 Townsend Avenue, who owns that?
I do.
That's
Oh,
owned by
okay,
her.
all right. You're not in any trouble, so don't, if you were, I wouldn't be smiling, no. It's, I feel bad that this happened, but this is one of those situations where the city of Lowell has an ordinance that says tree removal in a resource area is subject to Conservation Commission review. Just, in future reference, anytime you take down a big mature tree, just give a call.
Absolutely.
It's a simple thing to get permission for. You don't have to pay a permit fee or anything like that. It's just we got to know about it type thing. And the reason being is that, especially in this neighborhood, trees are, and you live there, and you know how serious a situation the floodplains are. Trees you might as well, they can suck up as much water as a fire truck on a daily basis. They're just huge water pumps, okay, and what they do. And I understand that this tree was in, a dangerous situation, so it's something that had needed to be done. So if you have some sort of decorative tree, that's not an invasive, that meets the regulations, and Swati can give you a list of, the types of trees that aren't allowed, and it's a short list. It's not super huge. Don't just assume if you go to a garden center that they know, because, you can buy red maple and, Acer platanoides, and that's an invasive species. You can't, an Acer pseudoplatanoides, you can't plant those. They're beautiful trees, but, it's a red maple, Norway maple. I shouldn't say a red maple. It's not a Acer rubrum is a red maple, but people call them red maples because they have red leaves. But they're Norway maples, and they're an invasive. So it's not that you see them; they're pre-existing, but you can't plant them new anymore. Not that I'm getting a little astray here, but if you're looking for a thing, Swati can give you a list of what's not acceptable. And as I said, it's a pretty short list. It's like 1.5 pages long. It's not a lot. The point is just don't assume the garden center knows, because, as I said, you can easily get a tree that's not supposed to be planted. So, okay. And again, it's just a simple phone call is really all, because the office has authority to say, yeah, that's okay. So it's the way the ordinance is written.
I didn't know, but.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. It's the way the ordinance is written, that it makes it, it makes it important for when you remove a mature tree, to just give us a notice, okay? I mean, normally you wouldn't think of that because it's on private property and whatnot, but because we've recognized the value of a mature tree and removal of water, that it's critical to have them, so, okay. All right, I don't have any further comments, so, just, did you have any plans for,
Yes,
replacement tree?
Can you bring 'em up?
Yeah, you want to give me the tree that you want to plant? A picture of the tree that you
Well,
want
we
to plant?
don't have to do that because she's going to give me a list, right?
Yeah, but you have an idea of just
And again, you can put it wherever you want, it doesn't have to go back in the same place if you have a,
Okay.
a nice area where you want to put it, so. Yep.
And that's the responsibility of the tree already. And this is a close-up of the entrance to the driveway.
Okay,
So I guess that's what she
okay.
needs.
And any idea what type of tree you're gonna,
I have been looking at ornamental. She said I could plant something like that, and I don't know where it is. I've been looking online to see, but if she could give me a list, we could narrow it down and
okay.
yeah, you could show that to them if you want.
Louisa, perhaps you would know more. It's not a great time to be planting a tree though, either, is it?
Oh, and I think you can still plant, except for, the tree would be fully leafed out if you
Yeah.
bought a tree now, but,
Crab apple.
if you plant it carefully and you keep it watered, I think it's possible to, most landscaping places will guarantee the tree anyway, so.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so, we've got a couple things to do. One, I'm kind of reluctant to leave this thing open. You're thinking of putting in a crabapple tree?
I've been looking at that one, yes, but I would check with her to see if that's okay.
I like crabapple trees and your local bird population will too.
They
If
love
you
'em.
like birds, you'll get birds.
We have birds, for sure, yes.
So, who issued the enforcement order? You? Yeah. What I'm going to propose doing is, procedurally wise, I'm going to propose that we just table this, and the implications are that it will just go away on its own, without ratification, and just keep in touch with Swathi when that you've planted the tree, and that's all, okay?
Yes.
Unless there's a motion to ratify the enforcement order. No slight, Swathi, I don't think we need to. And just send a phone call or an email to Swathi that you've planted the tree, okay?
Okay,
And-
fine.
All right?
Yes, thank you.
And thank you for coming in. So, and again, I'm not hearing a motion, so it is, okay? That's a good
Okay.
thing.
Okay, good.
All
Thank
right.
you very much.
Now, Swathi, the next item on tonight, oh, no, we have another one. Second enforcement order tonight, new enforcement order is Domingos Cavallero. I didn't say that right, Cavallero. Violation location is 506 Lawrence Street, and it's alteration of a wetland buffer area without prior approval of the Conservation Commission. Were they planning on coming in tonight?
Well, we just got the return receipt that they have received the enforcement order. So that clearly asked them to contact us by Monday and attend the meeting today. We haven't had any communication with them. What the DPD office is basically concerned about is the fact that a shed has been placed, and unfortunately, we don't know how long ago in time this actually happened. It has been in place over a long time, many years, I think. And that is actually partially on his property as well as on the city's property. And part of the city's property is right now in the process of being constructed as part of the Greenway. So for multiple reasons, for the installation of the Greenway and plus the shed being on the floodplain, it has to be removed. So we are hoping the commission can, ratify the enforcement order in an effort to basically removing the shed from where it is for dual purposes.
Okay, so this is were you down there as part of the Centennial Island or the Riverwalk, the new phase? Is that how you saw this, or?
Well, we were contacted by the city's asset manager,
Okay.
Patty Luckin. They were out there with the surveyor to work out the details for the layout plan. And I believe this was observed last year, and he was given some time to, address the matter, but things haven't proceeded.
So this is, let me get this straight. If you pull into Centennial Island, what is it, condominiums or apartments or whatever, and go all the way to the end and look left, that's this parcel?
Not exactly. You can actually see this from the roadside itself.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
At the backside, some of the properties have been fenced, but this one is not. So it has like a clear view to the river.
All right. Did we get an email of this enforcement order?
Yes.
We did?
Yes. They were
Oh,
all,
that's, yeah,
all-
that's, hold on.
yeah.
Yeah, I did see this one. I just want to make sure. All right, so you just got the return service today? Okay. So you've had no direct communication with the property owner as of yet?
No.
Okay.
And we wouldn't mind waiting till the end of this week, hoping if he got it only yesterday or something.
Okay.
We just wanted, so maybe we can maybe consider by a certain date, the shed has to be removed. Something toward that effect would be helpful.
Yeah, and the shed is partially on City of Lowell property?
Yes.
Is it within the,
It's within the floodplain.
it's within the floodplain?
Yes.
I'm assuming it's on cinder blocks or just resting on the ground? It's
Just resting on the ground.
no foundation?
No
Do we
foundation.
know how long it's been there?
Over many years.
All right, well, I mean, in and of itself, it's got to be off the City of Lowell property. I mean, considering that it's on the city's property, the city could actually remove it, but it's not at least the partial portion that's on their property.
We are basically would like to give the, property owner a chance if
Yeah.
he wants to, take care of it.
Well, what concerns me, though, is that I'll entertain a motion to ratify the enforcement order, but that it has to be removed. But the other issue is that this stretch of the Concord River, not only is that floodplain, but I believe that's fairly high velocity floodway too. And under the Wetlands Protection Act, these types of temporary buildings aren't permitted in this area. So, I mean, this is something, regardless of how long it's been there, it shouldn't be there anyway, because under the storm damage prevention portion of the act, you know, this thing becomes a boat and a you know, a battering ram once it starts floating down the river. So, you know, it's not supposed to be there anyway. So, I'll enter as well. I'll at first, just to open it up for discussion. Do I have a motion to ratify the enforcement order?
I move to ratify the order.
Okay, and do I have a second?
Seconded?
Okay, motion by Commissioner Barnes, seconded by Commissioner Toner. Now, discussion is, before we vote on ratification, is there any further discussion on this? I mean, I'm convinced that this enforcement order should issue, obviously. One, will the city in quotes, cooperate with the landowner to allow them to enter upon the city's property to remove?
Yes,
Okay, all right.
absolutely.
So, all right, and any further discussion? No? Okay. All right. No? Okay, all right. So, all in favor of ratifying the enforcement order signify by saying aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Okay. All right, thank you. And I note that the enforcement order says to appear in front of us tonight, but it's been ratified tonight at our next meeting, which is July 8th. Okay, so if that could be extended to the landowner other than the city. Next item on tonight's agenda is emergency certificate to the Markley Group. Project location was 2 Prince Ave, and its deteriorated building section in the northern side along Hales Brook is causing significant safety issues and is in danger of collapse. And from what I understand, it's already been removed, or it's in the process of being removed?
Yes, they didn't want to, you know, like step on the commission's authority to first issue an emergency certificate. The building commissioner is, as we speak, in the process of issuing a demolition permit.
Okay.
The structure is in a precarious condition, not even, you know, safe to access without proper safety measures. So they are being very prudent about that. So
Okay.
hopefully within the next few weeks.
And we're anticipating a filing on this also?
Yes, there
But
will
this
be a
is-
notice of intent filing. I have been in touch with the representative they have retained, Stantec. They are just waiting for their stormwater work. They have some additional site improvements and also protection or enhancement of the deteriorated bank along the stream they have there, Hales Brook. So hopefully middle of July or early August.
Now, is the city still doing the electronics reclamation on this site?
It was not actually city, it was Northeast
Is that-
Recycling.
Okay. Are they still doing that work there?
No, they have moved from there.
Okay, all right.
So,
So this was like a lean-to building
yes,
on like the far side of the parking lot?
yes.
Yeah, over by I guess that was like the noodle drying tower or something. I don't know what that was. It was part of the Prince Spaghetti
Yes.
factory at one point in time. It was an attachment to the building. I'm pretty familiar with I still miss the Prince Grotto, but I'm dating myself now. But, all right. So the emergency certificate issued, we have to ratify that. So is there any questions to Swathi on this? This was like a lean-to, was it wooden? I think it was, wasn't it?
No, it actually has like firewall and everything protecting from the main building, but they have concerns about the structural, that there was no reinforcement. It was just like a block wall.
Oh, all right.
So the roof is leaking. So
Okay, yeah, and it's Hales Brook at that stretch, if you're familiar with it, and I mean, whether or not you've been back there or not, it's can be difficult to get in. I think it's gated and locked usually when no one's there. So But Hales Brook and that particular stretch, the bank is all granite. It's, you know, man-made, and was channeled years ago. There's a waterfall back there, and it goes into culverts, and it's all I think there's a lock back there too, isn't there? Yeah, I think there is. So, you know, remnants of an old lock back there, so, but the bank is very well defined. It's, you know, it's not a situation where there's a lot of debate as to where it is, so, I'm satisfied that the certificate should issue, and again, the building commissioner deemed that this was a condemned structure, so, all right. So I don't have any other questions. So, all right, do I have a motion to ratify the emergency certificate? With the understanding that they will be filing. Okay.
Move to ratify the emergency certificate.
All right, by Commissioner Toner, seconded by
Second.
Commissioner Dillon. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. All right, and they know they have 30 days to submit, so, okay, all right. Do we have any other business?
I just briefly wanted to let you know that 1236 Pawtucket Boulevard, we were informed about some trees that fell down, and we just wanted to do a quick site inspection to make sure they can hire a tree service company to remove the fallen limbs. While we were there, we observed a fence that has been extended, 2 posts, which extend into the floodplain, and we shall make the suggestion to them to proceed with an RDA filing.
Right, so this is the property that last year, I think it was last summer or fall, where the new landowner cut down a couple of trees and let the trunks float down the river, and they had some issues with the rowing lanes that had been established in the river. So, and then the owners, well, I guess the owner, he doesn't live there, had made peace with the Merrimack Valley Rowing Association, and had, I guess, made some donations to, as I recall, I think they came in and said that they had received that. So from what I understand, they put up a fence. Yeah, and Swati had discussed this with me before the meeting, and my suggestion was, I mean, typically it's you know, it's in the floodplain, it's in the floodway of the Merrimack River, but, and Louisa, correct me if I'm wrong, but we've had similar situations where we've considered, when it's in the floodway of the Merrimack River, a permanent small thing like this, that they should file an RDA, because it's just the flood volume of the Merrimack is so overwhelming compared to, I mean, basically, you know, everything's going to be going down the river at that point in time. So that it's not even a needle in a haystack. It's not even a statistical blip on the radar. You know, normally it's these small incremental things, but when you're actually within the floodway as this is, it's you know, I mean I believe this property has a dock, and the dock, and they have a, you know, under the you know, they have a right to do that, and you know, the dock is significantly more intrusive than this fence. I mean, they probably put it up for a child anyway, but yeah, would be my guess. And it runs along the entire length of the property. I know it's set back quite a bit.
So if you're looking from the street side, there was already a vinyl fence on the western side. And so this additional one is parallel to that. So the fence is not actually obstructing the, you know, rising water level from the river. So this is, I would say like maybe 15 to 20 feet into the floodplain boundary, but not more than 2 posts.
Did the office issue an enforcement order?
No,
No.
this just got informed today, and I wanted to discuss with the
All right.
commission.
Yeah, I mean, they should file at least an RDA.
Yeah.
on this.
In the event, when we were out there, they informed, because they have a young child, they were thinking about like maybe extending it across the way, which would mean part of that fence will be like perpendicular to the rise of water level from the from the river. In that event, is that something they can entertain under the same RDA, or is that something should be considered as a future project if they want to pursue that?
Say that again now?
Okay, so they now have 2 side fences.
Yeah,
They are now talking about connecting the 2 with a backside fence.
along the riverway?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's more problematic.
Yeah.
Because that is potential riverfront impactment.
Yes.
They're near the bank, because their backyards aren't all that big
No.
out there. Yeah, that's a lot more problematic.
Okay. So we shall,
I'm not even sure, and again, I don't know exactly where it would be, but if they're within the 25 feet, I'm not even sure we could approve that,
yeah.
so.
They might be just outside the 25 feet, but we are looking at, I'm concerned about it being perpendicular to the direction of flow.
Right.
And, this is like opaque vinyl fence.
Yeah,
so.
that's a whole nother issue.
Okay, so let's deal with the one that is being put with the
Yeah,
RDA.
I mean, that would probably be a regular filing.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
With, the understanding that, I'm just a little curious about,
That can be entertained only if it's outside the riverfront and plus compensatory flood storage.
yeah, well, I mean, maybe you should think twice about where you buy a house if you have little kids, so, so, all right. So nothing's issued on that, at a very minimum, an RDA on that, okay. Absolutely. Okay, anything else? All right, we have a couple things to sign, but in the meantime, do I have a motion to adjourn? All right, by Commissioner Dillon, seconded by Commissioner Toner. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, the ayes have it, and good night.